What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Soge Kami talking to you about this latest chapter of One Piece 1098 entitled The Birth of Bonnie. It's actually hard. It's hard for me to even talk about this chapter because I was under the impression that this was going to be like a sad backstory, but Jesus Christ, I just thought that this was so over the top. And my hatred for the Celestial Dragons, I didn't think could get that much stronger. I already thought that they were the scum of the earth, but just some of the things they do, I just I really want something bad to happen to them, and I can't imagine the fact that somebody like Roger protected the Celestial Dragons. Like, these people are honestly the worst people ever. And so this chapter, it was continuing on with the backstory where we left off, and I'll admit I was wrong with the Bonnie being a clone theory. I was right about the fact that, Bonnie was young and that she was aging herself up, because when you saw her in the warm eddy, she was a kid, right? Now my thought process with that was the water, when she touched the water made her de-transform. No, it deactivated her devil fruit power, and whatever. And so I thought that was the hint there, but like, even still, I just think that this was one of those sad things that I just didn't expect from a chapter of One Piece. And I guess we kind of get the idea of where the Jewelry Bonnie name comes from now, because she had sapphire scale, which is a disease where like stone would come out of your face and whatever. Let's just start off with the chapter right from the beginning. At the top, we see that like Kuma's responding to, I guess, the other soldiers who are with Ginny's group, and then they say that Ginny got took and Kuma's still working. They don't know where to find her. She was taken by a Celestial Dragon ship, so like there's not really much you could do about that without going into all out war. If it was Luffy would be climbing that stone with his bare hands, getting up there. And then you have to assume Oda's not gonna say it outright that this child was born in, she was basically born by violence, but she loved Kuma, and in Ginny's last message to Kuma, she mentions that, I loved you, I wish I could see you one more time, blah, blah, blah. And she heads back to the Sorbet Kingdom to make sure that Ginny is around people who take care of her. And Kuma, knowing that's where she'd go, goes to look for her over there, and then finds a stone. She turned blue, covered in stone, I guess covering the baby from the sunlight or whatever, or maybe just the mom had the disease. They literally sent a half Celestial Dragon baby, the mother, a full, just a regular person, to die. They just left them to die on a boat, and Kuma, the godly man he is, goes over and to go save them, pick them up, and he just finds Ginny basically dying. We don't see what Ginny looks like, but she is either already dead by the time he gets there or is dying. And Kuma, he raises this child amongst the other elderly people who live in the Sorbet Kingdom, and they raise her as their own. And Kuma, although you see snapshots of Kuma going off back to war, and he comes back home. Sorry, he raises Bonnie until Bonnie starts getting the sickness that Ginny had. And at that point, he tells Dragon, I gotta take care of Bonnie. She's not doing so good right now. And Dragon tells Kuma to live life with no regrets. And he says that, we'll look for doctors for you. And I think at this point is when Vegapunk will get involved in 1099. We do know that Bonnie is obviously in a position now where she can be out in the sun. And it's ironic that it's the sun that it would be killing Bonnie and the sun that killed Ginny, when it's also the sun god, right? It's the sun god that, they pray to, the sun god that's supposed to save them. So I think that's like an irony there. I am looking forward to seeing Vegapunk in his young form and them with Kuma, and how, Bonnie gets better and everything like that. You know, and we see young images of Bonnie outside the village. She just looks so happy, so cute. And Kuma is just the father of the year, taking care of, you know, Ginny's like long lost child, or Ginny's last piece of, you know, who she have. And then the just like the sad fact that although Kuma wanted to marry Ginny, he wanted to stop her from having a life as a slave, and she ended up being enslaved anyway. You know, in the life that they had together, she ended up being enslaved anyway, and there was nothing he could do about it. He was powerless to the fact, and Akuma must feel so awful. And you know that he has these incredible like amounts of feelings and motivations that got him to do the things that he's doing, and his past and not being able to be there to change things for the life of the people he's loved, so no matter what. I really hope that, you know, Bonnie doesn't get into a situation where another celestial dragon will try and, you know, marry her or try to take her for her own, like act like Bonnie is their property. And I just think that that is so gross to me, that they did something like that to Ginny, and that she, when she got sick, she was just thrown away. That's just this chapter gave me so much deep emotions. I wasn't ready for Oda to go there with this chapter and really hurt me the way that he did, but I think that this was just a testament to his ability to tell a story and to make you feel something for these characters. In the flashback, we also see like I said, we went around and we saw Akuma raising Bonnie as a child before she turned 5 and contracted a sapphire scale. And we see even images of like Sabo in the Revolutionary Army, but I guess Bonnie wasn't, you know, she wasn't brought into the Revolutionary Army the same way like Sabo was, or like introduced to Eva even. So I'm sure she doesn't even know that Ivankov is her uncle. And Sabo is just like, you know, you see him as a kid training with Kuma, and so like it would be cool to kind of get a little bit more from Sabo, because Sabo said that Kuma was so kind and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to see their interactions a little bit more. We see Dragon a little bit, and Dragon is just like, you know, cool, collected, you know, a good leader. You can tell that he's somebody that they respect, and that they know that he will always do something to make sure that his people, his soldiers, are taken care of. And then later on, we see basically the people of the Sorbet Kingdom, they kind of terrorize Bonnie because they think she's a vampire. The kids think she's a vampire because she does not allowed to go outside, because the sun will give her the ouchies, so it'll put her in pain. And then we see Kuma as now he's living just in the Sorbet Kingdom, and he's basically overly protective of Bonnie. This really gave me like Mace Hughes vibes from FMA, like just like the way that he's so doting on her, and he's just always rubbing his cheek on her. He really has like this immense care for Bonnie as, you know, his last memory of Ginny. And he doesn't even, I'm sure that he thinks of Bonnie as his own child 100% through and through. Kuma is just like one of the most amazing fathers in One Piece. One Piece basically has a track record of, you're either one of like the most crazy, amazing, there for your children father, or you're someone like Dragon or Yasop, who, you know, are outside of that realm of fatherhood, but you do have some care. And then they're just like honestly the worst, most terrible fathers of all. It is kind of sad seeing that Kuma had these hands of liberation, right? And he wasn't able to use them to save the people he cared about most, which is Ginny. He didn't know where she was. He didn't make it in time, but Kuma still tried. And you know that for this disease, that Kuma would have done anything. And this is going to come to the cost of Kuma becoming a cyborg. This is what this is going to lead up to, how he ended up at this point. And Bonnie never knew about what it cost for him to do what he had to do to make sure that Bonnie could live like the best life that she would want to live, where she can go visit the Sky Island, she can go to Fishman Island. You know, she's going to be able to travel the world, and you know, Kuma is going to do anything to make sure that she can do that. And the chapter ends with such a heartbreaking moment where she overhears Kuma speaking to basically a doctor, and the doctor's telling him that she won't live until she's 10. She only hears the part where she hears about her turning 10 years old, and she comes to the conclusion herself that she basically will be healed by the time she's 10. And Kuma basically said, like, he couldn't bring himself to tell her that, no, it's not that you will be healed by the time you're 10. It's you're going to die when you turn 10, right? So Kuma tells her that, no, she'll be fine by 10. And he basically has a time limit to do whatever it takes to make sure that Bonnie is going to be okay in 5 years. So this was like 7 years before the current timeline. And so we're going to have to figure out exactly what it is that Kuma's going to have to do to get her healed, and it's going to cost a lot. Now at the end of the chapter, we see that the old king, he's returned after the Revolutionary Army kind of pushed them out, and he's basically trying to get rid of the old people in the lower parts of the Sorbet Kingdom again. And then this is where the tyrant king Kuma is going to be born. Kuma's going to push out this monarchy that's trying to come in again, and then he's gonna take it for himself, and we're gonna see basically all of Kuma's rage come out in this chapter. Hopefully in the next chapter we'll get something related to Vegapunk, and that hopefully in 1099 it'll be the end of this flashback too, because in 1100 I want to see Luffy punch the hell out of the Gorosei, punch the hell out of them. Also, we can kind of assume now that the reason why Akainu was looking for Bonnie the way he was is because Akainu knows that Bonnie is part Celestial Dragon, so maybe there's just a part of them that kind of wants to make sure the Celestial Dragons are protected in such a way, or maybe their family. I would be interested in finding out who Bonnie's birth father is. But yeah, other than that, I think this was it was an amazing chapter, it really was. But there's just a certain somberness in my voice, just the way that this chapter hit. The first half of this chapter was just so sad, and just seeing Bonnie and Kuma try so hard, and Kuma not really making any excuses for him not being able to protect him, just doing what he can. Bonnie is an innocent person in this whole thing. She was born into this corrupt world, and Kuma's just trying to give her the best life that she deserves, because that's what Ginny protected her for, and that's what she deserves. So she never really got to meet her mom, and I'm really sad to kind of see how Bonnie's going to react to Kuma's memories. We do know that she's kind of taken it in good stride. We know that Kuma's on his way to Egghead Island too. So just thinking about Kuma maybe having one last moment with Bonnie, maybe Kuma doing the Nika dance, something. I just want a moment with Kuma and Bonnie, and I would really love it if Kuma doesn't die. If Kuma ended up dying, that would be just it would be a lot in terms of heartbreaking moments that could happen in One Piece, and I will be able to accept it, but I would rather not have to. I would rather Kuma be okay. So I am looking forward to what comes next in the 1099 in the future. I thought Vegapunk would be making his way at some point, and now we do know what it is that Vegapunk has to do and why Bonnie would have been on Egghead before. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to everything coming in the future for One Piece right now. Now there is a break next week, 1099. It's okay. In this chapter, we do see that there were some unfinished sketches and stuff. I didn't mind. It wasn't as bad as the stuff that we got reading Hunter x Hunter. That was some of the worst sketches, unfinished sketches I've ever seen in manga. So it wasn't as bad as that. And as someone who collects the books, the manga himself. I assume that by the time it comes out in manga version that it'll be nice and clean. So Oda, take your break. You gave us 3 chapters in a row, so I really appreciate that. We're still on track for 1100 before the end of the year, which is the chapter I'm looking forward to most. Hopefully we can get something crazy, just like Luffy getting up, Gear 5 moment, something crazy, Kuma arriving on Egghead. That's what I want to see the most, Kuma and Bonnie hugging. I just want to see some type of happiness. Like, although we see Kuma happy, I want to see the current version of Kuma get something good happen to them. And I would love to see Ivankov in the future meeting his, his niece, and them having like a moment where Ivankov looks at Bonnie and he just like, you know what, like, you remind me just like my sister, and he just loves her. And yeah, I really just, I'm just so like heartbroken for Kuma, man. This guy goes through so much, and he's such a sweetheart. Man, One Piece, you done did it again. So yeah, so let me know what you guys thought. Like, subscribe, let me know you're alive in the comment section down below. If your heart's breaking just like me, just put a 1 up in the sky for our boy Kuma. Actually, make it a whole 5 for the whole paw. So just put that up in the sky, and hope you guys have a good day, and remember to hug your parents. Just hug your parents, man. Thank you guys so much.